We've already taken a look at one Rob Papen product, and that was a reverb. But if there's one thing that Rob Papen does particularly well, it's synthesizers. It's what his company's become famous for. And the Predator is really one of their flagship synths. It's an awesome 3-oscillator, 3-effects unit synthesizer with plenty of modulation options. Now, there's a lot to look at here. It's pretty feature rich, it's reasonably complex, but let's try and get a quick overview at least. The first thing to note is, as I said before, it's a 3-oscillator synth, and we've got our 3 oscillators up here. They're all pretty similar in nature. The second 2 oscillators have got a few more options, a few more modulation options, but essentially you choose your oscillator by activating these drop-down menus, and they're huge. They really are big. We've got a massive amount of choice here. We've got our standard analog saw, sine, triangle, square wave, etc., and then it just goes on and on and on into wave tables, and there's just a huge amount to choose from. And this is the same throughout the 3 oscillators, so you can create sub oscillators, fifths, sevenths, detunes, octaves, everything you want to. And 3 oscillators is always a nice amount to create really complex patches. We've then got a multi-mode filter, again with just a massive amount of choice. It really is very flexible, and anything you want is available here really. There's even vocal informant filters right down the bottom for those sort of talk box synth effects, great for sort of dubstep and trap basses. And then there's even a little filter 2 here, which gives you options like high pass, band pass, and you can also have this in low pass as well. It's slightly cut down in features, but still it's great to have it there. We've got a filter LFO, we've got an amp section with, there's 2 envelopes across the bottom here. They're reasonably small, but you can see them. And then we've got envelope controls here as well. There's 3 effects units, and I love having internal effects on synths. Some people like to process them with their own effects, and of course you can still do that, but it's really nice to have them built into a patch, I find. If you're quickly creating a lead sound that's really expansive with loads of reverb on it, it's great to be able to recall that back in the patch. Of course, you can replace it with a reverb later down the line, but it's just really nice to be able to have that programmed into the patch, and these effects units sound great. Let's have a look at the options here. Delays, reverb, choruses, wah-wahs, distortion, wideners, vocoders, equalizers, compressors, ensembles, all sorts going on in here. It's again very flexible, lots of choice, and that's what I love about this synthesizer. It is reasonably feature rich, but at the same time within each of these modules you've got a lot of choice. We've got a pitch modulation LFO over here for vibrato effects, etc. Play mode detail, so voicing, sort of unison spread and legato, things like this. And then down here we've got a really fully featured arpeggiator, which is great because it's got a sort of analog sequencer style pattern generator in it for adding ties and slides, so you can get awesome acid effects out of this thing, like really convincing and much easier to program than a standard acid machine. There's also a transgate and a fully featured mod matrix or mod option area down here, so you can really map anything to anything. And again, I don't really have to explain it to you. There's a lot of options when it comes to what you can modulate. Yeah, a lot. So really flexible. Again, I think that's the name of the game here really. It's an incredibly flexible synth, and it sounds awesome as well. Presets, lots of them to choose from. They're nicely named at the beginning, so for leads, chords, basses, etc., arpeggiators. So a really good way to delve into the power of Predator is to get into the presets. If we flip the unit round, we've got a decent amount of gate and CV output and input to modulate with other devices. Because there's so much modulation going on in here, it's nice to send things out to other devices. But reasonably simple on the back end compared to the front end, of course. So in the next video, we'll take a listen to this monster in action. I'm going to play you some various presets. We'll tweak some things. I'll show you some filter modes and some of the effects units in action as some of the key elements really that makes Predator such a great synthesizer.